Hello again, everybody. Unit number 12, passages 1. So in this lesson, we're going to go to section B, traveler or tourist. Now we're going to have here in the starting point travel tips. Read these people's experiences and the expert advice. Can you think of any of their advice? Now let's gonna check them out. So it says Terry travel tips. Get advice from Terry Tripper, the travel expert, and share your own travel tips. So it's now we're gonna hear. Well, here we have the blog says Meg B says a woman fell down in front of me during a sightseeing tour. I helped her up, but soon after I couldn't find my wallet. Do you think she might have taken it? Terry says it's very likely. If you hadn't been so nice, you would probably still have your wallet. It's a common scam. Someone pretends to be in trouble, be actually turned out to be a thief. Next we have Bruno H. says, I want to share a tip my friend gave me that I used on my last vacation. If you're worried about losing your passport, like I am, don't carry it around with you. Just keep it in your hotel room. Terry says, that is a good tip if there is a safe in your room. If not, keep your passport with you at all times. If someone had broken into your room, you would probably still be trying to get home. And then Kim N says, on my last trip abroad, I bought a little notebook and pen to help me communicate while shopping. If I couldn't find something, I'd draw a picture. If I hadn't had the notebook and pen, my friends wouldn't be thanking me for the awesome souvenirs I brought them. Terry says, that's a great idea when phrase books and dictionaries don't help. A picture can be worth 1,000 words. But you know, there are also some great apps for that, right? Check out this website. So after reading her travel tips, we have here pair work. What travel questions would you ask Terry? Tell your partner, then try to offer advice to each other. So I want to buy souvenirs from the places I'm going to visit, but I also like to travel light. Should I store them at the airport or somewhere else? The best thing would be to mail them home. If you don't mind waiting, use surface mail instead of airmail. It's cheaper. Okay, so this is our first activity, number 1. I want you to write down some advices that you ever taken when you travel abroad or when you have a short trip. Okay, so writing down here on the comments, so you can take a look about how she replies to the people here. Okay, remember that should, it's a modal verb that is used to express advice and suggestions. Okay, you can use that one. And now we're gonna practice listening. Things went wrong says. Well, it says, let's listen to Cindy and Scott talking about their travel problems. What happened to each person? Then we're gonna listen again. Choose a statement you think are probably true. Compare your answers with partner and give reasons.
Unit 12, Lesson B, page 100. Exercise 2. Things went wrong. Part A. Listen to Cindy and Scott talking about their travel problems. What happened to each person? 1. Cindy.
You'll probably be surprised to hear what I did. I was on a business trip. The flight was a long one, and when I arrived at my destination, I was eager to get my bags and get to my hotel to relax. Well, you know, they always tell you to be careful to get the right bag, but I was in a hurry. You can guess what happened. My black suitcase looked just like every other one, so I picked up someone else's. I didn't realize my mistake until I got to the hotel. Well, I immediately called the airport, and fortunately, it all worked out. I had to go back to the airport, though, to pick up my suitcase and return the other one. And of course, I also had to apologize. If only I'd checked the name tag more carefully. It's funny, this sort of thing almost never happens to me when I travel.
2. Scott.
This is kind of a funny story. I was in Panama City and had a layover between flights. I'd arrived at about 6 p.m. and my flight out wasn't until about 8:30. Well, my flight was delayed. And delayed. It got really crowded at the departure gate. I was getting tired and there were so many people around. I hate crowds. So I went to sit away from the departure gate to escape the crowds. I was reading and feeling drowsy. I wish I'd slept on the flight to Panama. Anyway, the next thing I know, I wake up and there's no one around. The crowd is gone. I'd fallen asleep and missed my flight. They must have made lots of announcements, and I missed them all. Boy, did I feel stupid. I had to stay in Panama City overnight and catch a flight out the next morning.
Now let's gonna check out the answers. So number one, well, the question, what happened to each person? Well, it says Cindy mystically picked up someone else's suitcase and took it to her hotel. When she realized what she's done, she went back to the airport, picked up her suitcase, returned the other one, and apologized. Scott connecting flight was delayed. He moved away from the departure gate, fell asleep, and missed his flight. He had to stay in Panama City overnight and catch flight the next morning. And next part, it's the answers are this. The number one is probably false, otherwise she wouldn't have taken the wrong bag. Probably true. She talks about how the usually doesn't have problems when she travels. 3, probably true. Scott says that he hates crowds. And 4, probably false, otherwise he wouldn't have gotten tired during his layover. Now the next part, grammar, it's mixed conditionals. As you see here, we have used had or hadn't, past participle, and wouldn't to talk about hypothetical events in the past that have effects on present. So this is like the third conditional. If you hadn't been so nice, you would probably still have your wallet. If someone had broken into your room, you would probably still be trying to get home. Now let's see the phrases on the previous page, 100. We're going to find out a couple of examples in here. Let's gonna check them out. We have, if I hadn't had the notebook and pen, my friends wouldn't be thanking me for awesome souvenirs I brought them. The sentence describe hypothetical events. Now we're gonna use this structures. Now it's the past simple structure with the if and the would plus have. Right? Don't forget that we need to put the participle. Well, sometimes in front of the would have, and it's the same with the past perfect. No, the past perfect, we use the past participle too in the main verb. Alright, now it's time to pause the video and check out the answers with me. So here we go. Number 1, if I had been more adventurous when I was younger, I wouldn't have any regrets about the things I missed. The airline lost my luggage. If I had brought change of clothes in my carry-on bag, I wouldn't be shopping for new clothes now. Then this flight is so long. If I hadn't bought an economy ticket, I would be more comfortable now. So that's would be, well, this is a combination that we mentioned before. Now I would be more comfortable now. Number 4, if you then had learned, this is past perfect in the if class, to speak some Mandarin before moving to Taipei, you would be able to ask someone for directions now. If Marta had become a flight attendant, she probably wouldn't be traveling as much as she does. Now let's gonna go to the grammar plus to look to some information. Wow, there's some information. Well, as you see here, conditionals can appear in many forms. They can describe how situations in the past affect situations in the past, the present, or future. Use past form in both the if clause and the result clause to talk about true events in the past. When I was younger, if I didn't behave well, my parents were disappointed. If we got lost during our trips last year, we just asked someone for directions. Use the past perfect in the if clause and wouldn't haven't, the past participle of the verb in the result clause to talk about hypothetical situations in the past that had effects on the more recent past. If I had been born with good voice, I would have started my own band a long time ago. Use past perfect in the if clause and would or wouldn't verb in the result clause to describe hypothetical situations in the past that have effects on the present too. If I had studied harder when I was in school, I would have better job today. Then use past perfect in the if clause and would or wouldn't plus a verb in result clause to talk about hypothetical situations in the past that have an effect on the future. If she had booked her flight before now, she would be in Paris next week. If I hadn't taken a year from school, I will be graduating this June. Now we're gonna complete the sentence with the correct form of the verbs in parentheses. Sometimes more than answer can be possible. So you can pause the video right now, and let's gonna check out the answers. As a kid, I always enjoy school if I liked the teacher. Second, if I had studied harder than last year, I wouldn't have to repeat the course this year. Third, if he hadn't spoken Greek, his trip to Athens last year didn't speak. No, didn't. If he didn't speak or if he hadn't spoken, his trip to Athens last year wouldn't have been so enjoyable. 4. When I was young, if I saw or had a scary movie, I would have bad dream. 5th, when I was a kid, if my father went away on business trip, he always called at 8 o'clock to say good night to us. Then the number 6, this had spent and would have. If I had spent less money when I was younger, I would have a nice little nest egg in a few years. Then 7th, we have hadn't had and would go. If I hadn't had a fight with my friend yesterday, I would go to the party tonight. Number 8, this had shown and would get. If she had shown more interest since she was hired, she would get the next promotion. Number 9, hadn't lost or what's up? Alright, 5, hadn't lost my passport. I would fly or I would be flying to Lisbon tonight. And 10, if she hadn't started figure skating when she was 4, she wouldn't have been in the Olympics. Alright, so look the combination of conditionals. So in the third conditional, you can use it to express future, recent past, and simple present too. So depending on the result clause. Now we have a little discussion. It says, have you ever had problems on vacation? Tell your partner, use the topics below, or your own ideas. We have health, language, accommodations, getting around, food, cost, safely, okay? Alright, so I went to the beach last week, but the weather was awful. So it says, why? Was it rainy? No, it was still sunny. If I hadn't been so sunny, I wouldn't have this terrible sunburn now. Okay, so for this activity number 2, you will share one of your experience. It doesn't matter if it's about travel, could be any experience that you recently have, and you will get an advice. You get an advice about what you could have done differently. Okay, so you're gonna express that. So this is activity. Use the form of hypothetical situation. Okay, so you have to use that form. So remember, to answer this activity, you have to use a hypothetical situation note, express that using the right conditionals. And let's continue to the next part. Now we have one word or two vocabulary. Combine the items from the boxes to make compound adjectives. So let's gonna check them out. Okay. And here we go. We have culturally aware, cultural sensitive, non-conforming, non-judgmental, open-hearted, open-minded, self-assured, self-aware, self-motivated, self-reliant. Now to practice better, let's gonna go to the grammar plus and the last grammar plus, vocabulary plus, and it says combine the words from the boxes to make compound adjectives to compare the travel tips. Some words will we use more than once, sometimes more than one answer is possible. So we have a culturally, non, open, self, assured, aware, judgmental, minded, reliant, and sensitive. So now we have be open-minded about trying new kinds of food. You may be captivated by a new cuisine. Let's check it out. For the number 2, self-assured or self-reliant. Be self-assured, self-reliant when it comes to exploring places on your own. You want people to think you are a confident, experienced traveler. Then the next one, be open-minded or non-judgmental when you experience new cultures. Consider all sides of an issue before forming an opinion. Number 4, we have self-aware. So it says people tolerate different levels of risk. Be self-aware and assess your own tolerance for adventure, uncertainty, and possible danger when you plan your trips. And number 5, it's culturally sensitive, open-minded, or non-judgmental. If you are traveling in business, learn about local customs and manners and try to be culturally sensitive, open-minded, not judgmental when you meet clients. And then if you're going to hike in the mountains, prepare to be, it says, self-reliant. Pack essentials such as water, food, rope, maps, flashlight, and first aid kit. And now we have a little role play. It says planning a trip, group work. Imagine you're planning a vacation. Discuss these questions. Write notes about your group decides for each question. No? So you have here these beautiful pictures. So this is our third activity. You will answer the next questions. Where would you like to go? How long would you like your stay to last? Would you like to go with your tour group or your own? What type of accommodation do you prefer? What kinds of activities would you like to do during the day? What sorts of evening activities would you prefer? What would each person budgets be? And what types of transportation would you plan on using? Okay, so these are just some of the questions. Okay, I want you to answer them here. And well, it says choose someone in your groups, travel agent, and present your vacation. Now, so you can practice with a friend, but right now I want you to answer the next question. That's our third activity. And one of the last activities is reading, well, practicing the reading ability skill. Solo travel. What are the best ways to experience a new place when you travel? Make a list, then read the article to compare your list with others. Okay, we're gonna make like zoom out. Okay, you can have time to read it out. Okay, I recommend you check out the words that you don't understand and make list of words. It's good, and find out a dictionary. So that's the best idea, not to get the concept. On looking to images, it helps you to remember and remind it later. All right, so let's gonna go to the section B. It says find the bold-faced words in the article, then choose the correct words to complete the sentence. If something captivates you, okay, so before going to the answers, you can pause it right here. If something captivates you, you're upset, captured, delighted by it. So it's delighted by it. A savvy traveler is refined, experienced, adventurous. Experience. When you plunge into activity, you probably walk away from it, throw yourself into it, stumble into it, and throw yourself into it. Number 4, if you enhance your reading skills, you upgrade, restore, prolong them. Upgrade them. And then the dynamic people, more cautious, unstable, interesting than others. That would be interesting than others. Okay. So this is our last activity, reading activity of unit number 12. Okay, so don't forget to check out the workbooks to have more practice. And that will be it for today. So I hope that you have a wonderful day. Take care. See you soon. Bye bye.